This expansion that came out, Edge of Fate, it isn't very good. I've been playing this game since it came out, and I keep wondering, why do I subject myself to torture like this? If you were to add up the total time this game has been good and the time it has been bad, you'd end up with about 5 years of goodness and 5 years of absolute dog shit, which is actually an even split down the middle. What I truly don't understand is why Bungie keep fucking up like this. They do it so much to the point where I'm done sympathizing. They have to be doing this on purpose. Why, for every good run of content, do we get the next run of content where you try to change aspects of the game no one wanted to be changed? The first game came out and it was awful because of backstage drama, blah blah blah, Joe Staten, blah blah blah, Martin O'Donnell got fired. The light level system made no sense. The story was bad, and the game was genuinely awful, guys. Anyone who says they missed when this was Destiny needs to be shot into space. Lots of things up to the Taken King were cut content, but then we got to Taken King, and Bungie made the game good. The light leveling was fun, and we had a nice selection of activities to go get light levels. Yeah, we'll talk about that. The Dreadnought was fleshed out. The strikes were memorable, the loot was enticing, the raid was amazing, Destiny had found its footing, and Bungie now had a decent idea of what worked. So with Rise of Iron, they just gave you more Destiny, and we all ate it up. The story wasn't as good as Taken King, but it offered a relatively equal portion of content. The raid was good, the strikes were good, and the guns were good. Everything was just good. Sure, complaints could be made, but it wasn't tragic. And then this is where my problem from earlier comes in. They just can't seem to leave shit alone. They bring out Destiny 2 because Activision wanted to sell copies, and we're all on board because Bungie know what they're doing now. I feel a bit sad that all my old shit will be gone, but that's okay because this is a fresh new game and Bungie will just continue doing the right thing. But then I play the game, and for some fucking reason, I now have 2 primaries, and the guns don't have random perks anymore, and the ability trees have been nerfed. They literally changed everything that no one complained about. Who wanted random rolls gone? Who wanted 2 primaries? Okay, maybe it was because PvP players complained about special ammo. They fucked the game so hard that it took them a year, with help, to fix it. So after a year, we're back at square one. Everyone talks about how Forsaken was the peak of the game, but I did not feel like that when it was the current expansion. I was happy, sure, but the happiness was more like a sigh of relief, not a jump for joy. Destiny was back in the state I liked it in, but we didn't move forward. And Destiny has been in this pre-Forsaken phase 4 times now. Vanilla D1, Vanilla D2, Beyond Light, and now this piece of shit. But what separates this as a true magnum opus piece of shit is genuinely just time. Vanilla D1, we could kind of tell that the backstage politics and Activision cutting corners was the reason why the game launched so empty. Vanilla D2, Activision ordered a sequel, and some higher ups went overboard trying to reinvent the wheel. This is the point where they should have realized not to change so many core systems at once that don't need to be changed. But clearly, they didn't learn that. And with Beyond Light and Sunsetting, they genuinely had to do something. I genuinely believe to some extent that the game was getting too big and that some shit just had to go. I don't miss those planets. The Red War is terrible. Curse of Osiris is terrible. Warmind is inconsequential. But why? Why would you get rid of the raids? We just paid for them, and what's important is the fact that we liked to play them. You can't fuck the game like this on accident 4 times. It gets to a point where we have to stop blaming tertiary things and just look at these developers and go,
"Hi, you're being sent this video because someone wants to know what the fuck you were thinking. What the fuck was going through your head? What did you think was gonna happen? Are you just a fucking idiot? Do you just not think? What the fuck were you thinking? That's why they're sending you this video, because it absolutely fucking baffles them that you did something so fucking retarded. They know you're not this fucking stupid, but for some reason, you just decided to throw out every bit of fucking common sense you ever had and act like a total fucking moron, okay? So they really want you to know, and you should tell them as soon as possible exactly what the fuck you were thinking. And if you weren't thinking, apologize as soon as fucking possible, because you were totally out of fucking line, okay? So please, tell them, what the fuck were you thinking?
Because do you really think those Activision execs that don't even know how to hold a controller walked into that meeting in 2015 and went, yeah bro, for Destiny 2, we want you to remove random rolls, remove special weapons, and make the skill trees boring and shit. Pete Parsons is a dickhead, but do you think it was his idea to add the portal to the game? I know I'm talking a lot, but I'm really trying to make myself clear. This shit can't be accepted anymore. These are the reasons why Destiny Edge of Fate. The story. I promise I won't take long with this. Destiny is really funny because for a game that constantly loves to tell these disconnected, monotonous, awkward, and inoffensive stories, it sure does have a lot of glazers who say, but the lore is really good. Listen guys, the lore is actually pretty good, but Bungie do a terrible job at actually translating that lore into a simple, structured story. And it's not like they're incapable of doing it. We've played Halo. In fact, there have been times in Destiny history where Bungie writers locked in and wrote simple, witty, natural dialogue.
It's not like the Queen to attack a superior force.
How could she have known? How could anyone? We need a warlock inside the Dreadnought.
Here we go.
Our first priority must be to protect the city. Our Guardian got a good look on Phobos. Whatever it was, it turned Cabal against Cabal, wiped out their base in minutes. How long would we last?
Until we understand what we're dealing with.
It's just drowned out by the other shit they mostly make. So that brings us to Edge of Fate, the start of the next 10-year saga. Bungie said they wanted to return to the mystery and question element of early Destiny, which they did a spectacular job at, because it's even got veteran players confused as shit. I mean, I kind of understand what happened, and I don't even mind this new character, Lodi, but this is actually something that Bungie needs to get better at. There are so many characters from Destiny that we haven't caught up with in a minute. If we're gonna start making this roster of characters feel alive, we're gonna need to start using them. These expansions don't feel really expansive when the characters we constantly hold F to interact with aren't present for these world-ending events. It's why I still regard Taken King as the best campaign. We have scenes of the Vanguard members arguing, people have different agendas, and they don't just sound like they're following a script to get you to the next mission.
I gotta go, see about a ship.
Cade, our discussion is not yet concluded.
Oh, I know. That's why I'm leaving.
We get greatness with Lodi, who's written very competently, but I can't shake the feeling that people would have appreciated this more if it was someone like Shiro 4 or Ephraidi, and if other key players showed up to partake in the kickoff to the new saga of Destiny. It's not as bad as Nimbus and the Cloud Striders.
The uglier they are, the harder they fall, right? No? Come on.
Seriously, why did you guys even make this a fucking thing? I could spend 20 minutes recapping the campaign and what I liked about it, but there's not much to say. It's boring for a bit, but when the branching stories come together and you see that cutscene, it picks up and gets going. Right when it gets really good, it ends. So when you're done with the story, it's time to move on to the mid-game of Destiny. This is where it all really goes to shit. Here we go. Now we are finally taking the gloves off and going full toxic, because what the fuck is this? Edge of Fate launched with no strikes, no lost sectors, no patrols, and a planet activity that you can't even play whenever you want. What is the average player supposed to do after finishing a Destiny campaign? Well, usually they move on to the Strikes playlist and do stuff on the new planet that the expansion came with. Even Lightfall, the expansion everyone loved to shit on, launched with a strike, a planet that had activities, and patrols, and lost sectors. This piece of shit launched with the opposite of that. Instead, we have these boring, monotonous side quests peppered throughout the planet that I'll never do. This is bullshit. If I wanted to play side missions after finishing the story, I'd go play a Ubisoft game. You must have realized that adventures were shit, so why would you go back to making them? Instead of making these 10 side quests, you could have maybe made, I don't know, 2 lost sectors, a strike. Call me an armchair game dev all you want, but surely the time it took to make these god-awful things could have been better spent making the things we liked doing. And yeah, I liked doing solo Master Lost sectors. They had a high chance to give you exotics, they were set at a decently high power level, so you could go in there with a fancy build you liked using, and they would rotate the sector and what type of exotic it offered every day. In fact, you improved it by letting us focus the type of exotic we wanted ourselves. Why do you constantly improve stuff only to fuck it later? You could have just put the Kepler lost sectors on a separate rotator for a certain period, with the loot pools being restricted to the Kepler loot, so people could go grind those for their god roll tier 5 agape. But no, I guess you didn't have enough resources, which is probably also the reason we didn't get strikes. This isn't just a problem with Edge of Fate. This is a problem with Destiny in general. The Taken King and Forsaken launched with 4 strikes, which were great, but then all of a sudden, the number just dropped off. Bungie transitioned to a yearly expansion model, which meant they would have more time to cook these things, but the strike offering was getting smaller and smaller. Shadowkeep launched with 2, then Beyond Light launched with 1, but then we got another one in the next season, which was actually a very good strike. The Disgrace doesn't count, it's just Omnigul. Beyond Light had 1 fucking strike on Europa, and it's terrible. No one likes the Glassway. I don't count reworks. I appreciate reworks when they come in seasons. I really do support the idea of reworking strikes by making the boss Taken or Siva. I really don't mind. Then Witch Queen, which is the expansion people pretend is on the same level as Forsaken or Taken King, launched with 2. Beyond Light made me mad, sure, but Witch Queen snuck up on me. It's when I started to realize that something was wrong. I genuinely think the backbone of an expansion is the strikes. Strikes are supposed to be the rogues gallery of the new content you paid for, the monster of the week bad guys who are unique and make the expansion seem busier. And here's something that's also very important. You shouldn't have the strikes take place in the middle of the campaign. I know it's a nitpick, but playing a strike during the campaign only to finish the campaign and find out there is only 1 more is just disappointing. Bungie, maybe if you didn't waste time making 6-man activities like Wellspring, and used that time and money to develop an extra strike with an exclusive weapon tied to it, people would not complain about strikes being boring. Guys, strikes are good. They are the thing we're supposed to play between raids. It's like the bucket of popcorn you get when you go see a movie, or the ads before the movie if you're like me and like watching ads. When there is a new gun with good rolls to grind for, we would all run off and grind GMs for a few hours. All we need is 3 strikes with a weapon refresh, which you could have done with this expansion. You know what? Fine. You couldn't afford to deliver 3 strikes. You couldn't deliver 2, but not even 1? The portal weapons could have easily been the new Nightfall exclusive selection. Ahab Char, Quanilus II, what a dumb name, Mercury A, Theodolite, Lionfish, Shoreline Dissident, Mint Retrograde, Aurora Dawn, Outrageous Fortune, Boomslang. Maybe I missed a few, but those are 10 new weapons that we could have grinded every week in this game through GMs by using builds, actual builds built for engaged gameplay, not figuring out how to compromise your build where you can still hit kind of hard while also using eager edge. But no, GMs are gone, and what do we have in their place? I keep bringing it up, so now it's time to talk about it. You fucking morons. I've written and deleted this first paragraph 6 times. This shit pisses me off. For those of you who don't remember or weren't playing, until Beyond Light came out, Nightfalls worked with a system called 5 of Swords. It was a little menu you opened before launching the Nightfall, where you could set your power disadvantage and add 3 modifiers, positive or negative, that would affect your score multiplier. I believe back then you needed 100k to actually complete the Nightfall properly, so people would just adjust it to whatever was the most optimal setting to achieve 100k. This shit blew. This is a specific thing I hate about some games like this. I hate when every aspect of the difficulty is put in your hands. Imagine if Elden Ring shoved a menu in your face before every boss fight with modifier options like take more damage for 5 seconds after rolling, being hit by a melee attack slows you for 5 seconds, enemies drop pools of fire when killed. I don't curate the difficulty, besides maybe a difficulty option, which comes with its own balancing and shit like that. It's decided and done by the dev. You pick the modifiers, Bungie. You did it before. They got rid of Nightfalls. They got rid of weekly featured raids, weekly featured dungeons, weekly featured exotic missions, and they got rid of solo master lost sectors. And you're supposed to run these over and over again for drops that are only stronger by 1 power. But sometimes the stars align and you actually get a drop that isn't stronger at all. Let's see, I can still power up, right? Today is Skywatch. This is the most rewarding one today. They rotate daily. So here we go. I should just play, right? What am I going to get? I'm going to get a 429 reward. Let's go back to the website here. I have 3 items that are below 429. And the most I will benefit is a 1 out of 8 chance of getting that 429 to be a bond, bro. And that's +4. It's +4. That's nothing. I'm most likely going to get one of these. So I'm either going to get something that is less than what I have, the same level of what I have, or only 1 power level higher. You might be thinking now, well, just do it then, it can't be that hard. This shit is boring. Obviously, I want to minimize the chance of me wasting my time. So what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to now start adding modifiers. So here we go. Let's add these enemy types. Let's add threads and caltrops. That's going to take us up to a B+. There you go. We're still 429, but the loot will now drop at tier 4, which we'll get onto that later. We'll talk about tier 4 later. But I still want that. I want like a 431 at least, bro. I want a 431. So let's just up the arc threat. No power increase. Let's give chill touch. No power increase. Let's give counterfeit. Here we go. 430. Okay, well, I want it to be 431. Let's go. Subtle foes. No. How about... Martyr. Nope. Okay. Now, I still haven't hit 431, but while I added modifiers, these little numbers here, these also add power deltas. These increase the power level of the enemies. See? By +20, by +20, by +10, 10, 10, 10. Oh my god, I can't believe this. I have upped their power by 50, 60, 70, 80. 80. I've disadvantaged myself by 80 power. Well, actually by 60, because I'm 426. I've disadvantaged myself by 60 power levels. This could still drop me a chest piece, boots, an SMG, or a pulse rifle. This is gonna go so well. You know what? Let's do this. Let me run this real quick. Oh, let's not forget the surges here. Let's put some surges on. This will make my life way easier. There you go, Grenadier. How about that? Alright, let's do this. Let's run this shit. Here we go. To reach max points, I also have to kill 50 combatants in a mission with Cursed Thrall. There you go, 38 out of 50. I'm running low on time because it's taking me so long to kill these enemies because I had to do it for a decent power bump. Here we go. I had to disadvantage myself so much. So now I'm taking forever to kill these enemies. So I'm running out of time. Where's the last one? Right, I've destroyed all the crystals. Now where? Now where do I go? Let's see. I've never done this one before. Oh, we'll go this way. Okay. Yeah, my chat on the top right is fake. It's just a funny thing I do for clips. Okay, look at my face cam. They've also given Saint 14 like Reddit, Tumblr, fanfiction dialogue. Pretty good. Oh, that's counterfeit. That was counterfeit there. That was a fake special ammo. So that right there was counterfeit. That was a fake special ammo brick that blew up in my face. Oh, I got a drop. Look at that. Wow. I'm not having fun. I'm really not having fun because I'm doing a solo op. Oh, I died. I've got limited revives because it's a GM, so I have to be careful as well. Yep, another death. I've got a minute and a half to beat this. Come on. Oh, shoot him, please. Thank you. Let's see what I get. I need either a heavy weapon, a helmet, gloves, or a bond.
Statue of the Guardian, covered in pigeons.
418. That was 418. That was 418. What is this, a primary weapon? This is 430. I've already got a 430. Oh, 3 430s. I've got 3 430s, guys. And the 418. Okay. That's interesting. What about here? Any armor? I've got a chest piece. 418. Boots, 418. And the bond is 418. I benefited nothing from doing that. That took me 9 minutes and 45 seconds. And I got a bunch of shit. I got a bunch of shit that isn't helpful at all to me leveling up. Are you fucking serious? After putting myself at that much of a disadvantage, I should be given a substantial power increase. Sometimes those things can get tough. You can fail those fucking things or not finish them in time. So what it creates now is this weird gameplay style where you kinda have to put strong shit on, but also put on an eager edge sword so you don't blow your brains out. You put on eager edge and a mint retrograde, and you run this shit for 8 hours, and by the end, you've only gone up like 10 power levels. And it's not like you did anything fun. You just ran Caldera for your entire evening. Before, you would run these activities on all 3 characters: the new raid, the weekly raid, the new dungeon, the weekly dungeon, nightfalls, strikes, Pathfinder. There was shit to do. The portal is missing dungeons and raids. They introduced these things called dungeon lairs, which are dungeon encounters that you can run for loot, but they don't start you at the checkpoint for the encounter. They start you like 10 minutes before the encounter, with a time limit. Why? These are dungeons. They take time. They take planning. But because it's in the portal, it's forced to have a timer and locked loadouts. So if you thought you could put on eager edge and rush to the actual encounter that's on the square you clicked on, good luck. You just unequipped your DPS weapon. Some of the strikes in the fire team menu have matchmaking, but some don't. You'd think the quick play option would be your go-to, but that stops dropping powerful loot when you hit 400. So now you have to pick one of these, and that means you have to once again pick modifiers and
fuck yourself
for a chance at a +1. I guess instead of solo master lost sectors, I'm supposed to do solo ops. But what if I want to grind exotic engrams? What then, Bungie? You spent all that time making updates to exotic drops and engram focusing, only to walk it back and ruin it. Yes, they are still in the game, but you're not focused on them anymore, and they drop old gear, not tiered gear. Okay, I have been a negative little bitch for this entire thing, so I'm now gonna take a break to talk about tiers as a concept. It's fucking amazing. The way it works is, any new gear from Edge of Fate can drop from tier 1 to tier 5. That's what these little dots mean. I'm going to talk about weapons first. A tier 1 is just your regular old gun. Then, a tier 2 is the same thing, but the 3rd and 4th perks are enhanced. A tier 3 has 2 enhanced perks you can choose from in the 3rd and 4th column, making them better in niche scenarios where you can swap perks, or better for farming because you have 2 chances at the perk you want. Then a tier 4 is the same as a tier 3, but the 1st and 2nd perks are enhanced. And finally, a tier 5 has 3 perks to choose from in the 3rd and 4th column, and all the perks on the gun are enhanced. It's also got an animated camo on it with a special effect on enemies you kill. And the same essentially goes for armor. Each tier just increases the amount of stat points you can have, and at tier 5 you can modify what stat you want to take points from and add to a stat you want to focus on. It's not as exciting as the weapon tiers, but it doesn't have to be. This is great. It gives legendaries more depth, they look better in your menu and in your hands, and they also make farming more efficient because you have 3 chances at the role you want. I love it. The animated camos and the kill effects, good job. This was supposed to be an objectively good thing for the game, but Bungie forgot to actually implement it. Only the new stuff from Kepler, the Raid, and the Portal are tiered. Exotic armor is not tiered. Why? Was it that hard? Are they so different? Realistically, a crafted weapon with enhanced perks is equal to a tier 2. Most players will be using tier 3 loot anyway, so why not just retroactively implement this system into the old raids? I would have loved to go back and grind for a tier 5 Fatebringer, Zauli's Bane, Supremacy. You guys just reprised Vault of Glass last season, and now it's irrelevant again. You guys are gonna have to reprise all these raids for like the 3rd time. We were excited for these reprisals before, but now that you've fucked us so many times, we're just gonna take it and shake our heads at you. Like when you hand your homework to your teacher late. It's just unacceptable. Would it have been that hard to just implement the tier system to all this gear that's just sitting there? Again, armchair game dev, it gets thrown around a lot, but at this point, can you blame me? You introduce craftable weapons to raids in Witch Queen. Now, Vault of Glass weapons are irrelevant. We had to wait 2 years for those weapons to become craftable with enhanced perks. Am I gonna have to wait 2 years again for weapon tiers to come to Kingsfall? No, please don't make me wait. Just fix this shit, please. You really don't have to do much, guys. Just get on with it. Your raids are irrelevant, and this same complaint applies to armor set bonuses too. New armor in Edge of Fate comes with set bonuses for wearing 2 or 4 pieces from a certain set. This is an objectively good feature, another layer to build crafting that actually makes the armor you earn matter. My friends still use armor from Beyond Light, but now they're actually incentivized to keep it and find out what combination adds to their build. So why don't the old armor sets have these? They don't even have to be complicated. Literally, the Vanguard and Crucible sets can just be reputation bumps. Raid sets can just increase the timer on buffs you hold for mechanics. You can convert the raid mods into set bonuses. I'm really not asking for much. I'm not even asking you for Gambit stuff. You know what? Just delete it from the game if you're gonna give it the cold shoulder. And I fucking loved Gambit, but I'm just looking at the bigger picture here. The dungeons could have had set bonuses. Then, new players might have been inclined to spend money on your fucking dungeon keys, guys. Not only is it good for gameplay, it's good for business. The raid is good. One of the best. I like boss fights. It's why I like Kingsfall so much. War Priest, Golgoroth, Daughters, Oryx. That shit feels epic. So when you give me a raid that is just 4 back-to-back boss fights, I'll take it. But let me tell you something about this game. I love Kingsfall so fucking much. I want to inject it into my bloodstream. But if you check my raid report, you'd see that I haven't run that raid properly since last October. If there is loot to get and power to grind, I will run that shit religiously. Even after I hit max power, I still run the raid for some god rolls or for the red borders, but eventually an amazing, sexy, beautiful, godlike raid such as Kingsfall gets put to rest. Even a raid that I hate, Garden of Salvation. I've done it the same amount of times as I've done Kingsfall. Bro, I needed power levels in Shadowkeep, so I ran that bitch. Then, when they reprised the weapons with Revenant, I ran it again. The key thing here is the fact that I ran Garden so many times when it came out, even though I don't fucking like it. I don't like collecting motes. I don't like the Vex. I don't like how people just ignore mechanics in the final boss. I don't like the way the boss fucking stands when you try to damage it. I needed power levels, so I ran that shit, bro. And I fucking hate the Vex. So when I tell you that I like this new Vex themed raid a lot, you should assume, yo, this guy probably runs that shit, bro. I don't. It doesn't give you power increases that are worth your time. That's why it's so hard for me to find a team to do this shit. People are grinding 3-minute calderas. Remember, shit drops at +1 now. The raid has 7 drops, 4 bosses and 3 secret chests. Why would I waste an hour putting up with LFGs, racists, people who lie about knowing what to do, when I can just run 15 Caldera solo ups for the same power reward? In this game, you gotta beat the campaign first. Then after the campaign, you get power. Then when you get the power, then you get the rolls. That's why you can't trap people in the second part. This is what leads to Destiny players thinking power level is bad for the game and should be gone. You make it shit like you've done here. You need to immediately just up the power drops from the raid. It's gotta give you +5s minimum. Maybe they fixed it with this live update they did recently, but I honestly can't tell after playing it 4 times. The portal has fucked the game so hard, I just don't care anymore. They added a new epic version of the raid in September. I'm sure it's good. I've seen it and it looks good. They changed the encounters and the final boss fight has been changed completely. Besides the fact that I kinda don't want to technically relearn the bosses, this is good. Well done. But please, reward me for doing your raid. I don't want to do solo ops. I can't shake this feeling that something is missing, and that you guys clearly shipped this new Ash and Iron season without the thing it should have obviously shipped with. The fact that Wrath of the Machine was cancelled due to the layoffs just gives me this rare empty feeling I only felt after finishing Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, and even other franchises like Metal Gear. There is this uneasy feeling of robbery in the air whenever I play Reclaim, whenever I shoot Outbreak, whenever I hear Siva get mentioned. We are deep below square one, the furthest we've ever been. Even if you fix this shit within a year, which you have a track record of doing, going back to square one isn't enough now. Now, you have to spend a year unfucking us again. So here is what I believe you can do, starting now. The portal has to go. No one wants to set their own modifiers. No one wants to cripple themselves. No one wants to grind +1 for hours. Just drop it. You have to revert whatever you did to the weekly ritual content and to the power drops. This was not what you needed to change about the game. The weapon tiers and armor sets would have been more than enough. I miss running GMs for new god rolls. It wasn't perfect, but shit, no one wanted them gone. Tier 5s should drop from Solo Master Lost Sectors, The Raid, GM Nightfalls, competitive rank ups, and yes, Trials flawless completions. I've only gone flawless once, so don't call me some biased veteran elitist Trials player. If you're not willing to go flawless, then put up with the tier 4. The difference is minimal. Update the old raids, make the gear tiered, and give the armor sets some cool bonuses. Also, how about, in good faith, you finish off the weapon arsenals of the Destiny 1 raids as well. I want my Kingsfall rocket launcher. I want my Atheon's epilogue. I want my Light of the Abyss. You don't have to make any new models. Just update the perk pools. And don't take forever to do this. Update the legacy raids quickly. They're legacy. That is guaranteed content that will satisfy people for a decent amount of time. It'll incentivize new people to buy old DLCs so they can farm for some of those old guns. Okay, now it's time for the bigger asks, but I have to throw these in. Wrath of the Machine has to come back. This is your next break glass in case of emergency trick. Last time it was Into the Light. You guys clutched up, but this won't be like that. This is more like a divorced dad crying on his ex-wife's doorstep with a new Toyota. And remember, when you reprise this last raid, don't leave any of the guns behind. Bring back all the guns. And you know what? You don't even need to make a new exotic to make up for Outbreak. Put something like an Outbreak ornament, or maybe another catalyst for it, even though Rewind Rounds is never coming off that thing. I don't know, Envious Arsenal, that'll be fine. Every week, just have the latest raid give pinnacle drops, and have one of the old ones give pinnacle drops too, on a cycle. All pinnacles, not just the final boss. How are we going to prevent this from happening again? Bungie, you can easily put together a formula for expansions that can work, so let's do that. Your campaign should just be 8 to 10 missions, with cutscenes before and after the missions, with bits of dialogue in between, like going to talk to vendors or whatever. Let the characters breathe, let them talk normally. You did well with the marathon short. Those characters talk like actual people. They communicate emotion and tone through their body language and even the way they breathe. I know you outsourced it, but whatever, you can do it too. I believe in you.
You ever wonder what happened to these people?
It's not my business.
And this music is? You'll have a tough time finding a buyer.
Good. It's not for sale.
Do you recognize this child?
I don't know. Is that me?
Did you not hear? Your world is doomed. A flood army, a grave mine, has you in its sights. You barely survived a small contamination.
And you, shipmaster, just glassed half a continent. Maybe the flood isn't all I should be worried about.
One single flood spore can destroy a species. Were it not for the Arbiter's Council, I would have glassed your entire planet.
Do not put strikes in the middle of your campaign. Strikes are meant to be the second act of your DLC, which there should be a minimum of 2. Yeah, I wish they could do more, but just do 2 and don't place them in the middle of the campaign and we're good. But what you really need alongside the strikes is a vendor refresh. Zavala needs a new armor set and some new guns for Nightfalls and just general Vanguard guns. You don't even need to make new ones. Update the old ones into the tier system. This is acceptable. And the least you could do for the Crucible is to just give them new guns and armor too. I'm not even gonna bother getting too deep into it because I have some serious opinions on PvP in Destiny, which we won't get into today. Like, just give them some guns and some armor and be done with it. I don't even care about the new maps. That mode sucks. Oh, bring a raid, obviously. We need a raid in the summer and a dungeon in the winter. Then we can grind those every week along with the other weekly featured ones for some variety because you're going to update those arsenals. And finally, this is going to be a bit weird. Don't force yourself to bring a new destination. We kinda don't need one with every expansion. It will just bloat the game with patrol zones no one goes to. You can make engaging campaign missions and strikes on the planets we've already been to. You know, everyone likes to talk shit about Justin Truman's over-delivery speech at the GDC, but some of us looked through the rage and realized that he wasn't fully wrong. People don't seem to argue whenever you say Into the Light was one of the best updates Destiny ever got. And what was it? Old guns, old maps, old armor, old shader, new skimmer. Yes, Onslaught probably took a decent effort to program and script, but this is a good example of not over-delivering. We just put it all on paper. You didn't do that much, but we ate it up. Because at its core, this game is fun. We enjoyed going in with different builds and slaying out. Me personally, I actually went out and bought all the stasis fragments for Titan. I didn't touch stasis at all until Into the Light. I got the stasis fragments and I went into Onslaught and I had a lot of fun. And we all enjoyed getting all that loot. Here, listen to this. Ghost Primus, No Feelings, Go Figure, Duke Mark 44, Last of the Legion, Dust Rock Blues, Tempered Dynamo, Show of Force, Striker's Shorehand, Bad Omens, 21% Delirium. Those are plenty of guns you could add in another Brave Arsenal update. I left some out. You can update that shit every once in a while. Maybe I'm just speaking for myself, but I'll gladly jump into Onslaught to grind some not new guns. The Portal, as an idea, should have been nothing more than a little shortcut menu at the bottom left of the director. You had it in Destiny 1. It should feature the newest raid, the weekly featured raid, the newest dungeon, the weekly featured dungeon, the weekly Nightfall, Onslaught, the daily Crucible mode, the daily Lost Sector, and the daily story mission. And there you go. That's your Portal. An easy, simple, shortcut menu for people to quickly get into what Destiny has to offer. Stop making 6-man activities that become irrelevant 6 months later. Put that time and money into some fun and engaging strikes. And if you want to be lazy, that's okay. Just add some guns to Onslaught and convert some old Crucible maps. It's not perfect, but it's better than nothing, which is what we have now. If you just stick to this formula, I'm not saying your expansions will be revolutionary. There'll still be plenty wrong with them, but they definitely won't be insulting